Andrew Benishek, and I worked with Adrian Lopez and Marvin Fussell to discover what is already being done and what can be done to protect marine environments at an institutional level. First, I want to see if you can identify two famous marine reserves. This is the Great Barrier Reef, and it is so large it is able to be photographed from space. The Great Barrier Reef is the single largest structure made of living things, massive amounts of coral, sea grasses, seaweeds, and billions of other plants and animals. The Great Barrier Reef is about 130,000 square miles. To put that into perspective, that's 182 times larger than the island of Maui or 5 times larger than the Australian state of Tasmania. Now see if you can identify this island group. These islands are the Galapagos Islands, which is the place where Charles Darwin himself went in his study, which later led to his theory of evolution. Now I'll talk about the threats to the Galapagos Islands. The biggest threats to the Galapagos Islands are fishing and tourism. The Galapagos Islands are home to diverse species of fish, which make them popular fishing grounds. Much of the community's source of income is based around the fishing industry around the islands. However, fishermen from other countries illegally fish and cause the number of fish available to plummet. Because of this, fishermen have to struggle to fish the same amount from a smaller fish population. Tourism is also a threat to the islands. The islands get around 200,000 visitors each year, and the communities have needed to expand to be able to accommodate a growing number of visitors. A growing number of visitors places strain on the already low budget of the island. Because of the large area needing to be protected, it is hard for the Park Service to be able to keep watch over it. What species are being killed and are threatened? In the Galapagos Islands, there is a great diversity of living species, such as the hammerhead sharks, albatross, whales, finches, and dolphins. About 109 of the species in this archipelago are endemic. An endemic species is one that exists in a certain geographical location and is unique to this place. One of these species is the Galapagos tortoise, which was very prominent when Charles Darwin arrived. These colossal reptiles can measure more than 5 feet in length and weigh as much as 550 pounds. Their average lifespan is more than 100 years. Since the discovery of this archipelago, an estimated 100,000 tortoises have been killed and 4 of the original 14 species are extinct. Also, the marine iguana is considered vulnerable to extinction because it is under constant pressure from non-native predators like rats, feral cats, and dogs, who feed on their eggs and young. In addition, they are affected by climate change. As the sea levels and air temperature rise, marine iguanas are unable to regulate their body temperature while on land. Egg development is also affected with the change in temperature. This is the only iguana in the world that is considered marine. So what is being done to save the islands? Agencies like CITGAL and IGTOA have been set up to prevent new and invasive species from damaging the ecosystem. UNESCO declared the area and the surrounding waters a park in 1959. Laws in 1986 and 1998 were passed by Ecuador to further protect the area from overfishing. Organizations like the WWF and Galapagos Island Trust are working to protect the region. Some of their methods include teaching local fishermen to fish sustainably and fund research centers on the island. Now I'll talk about threats to the Great Barrier Reef. Global warming affects the Great Barrier Reef for a variety of reasons. Warmer water causes heat stress and coral bleaching to corals. Stronger storms are also caused by global warming, which weakens coral structures. The acidification of water also damages the coral's growth and reparation after storms. A rising sea level also causes the ocean to take over low-lying habitats, like intertidal zones and mangroves. The effects of global warming are also amplified by human contamination of water through agriculture, industrial, and urban land use, which affects runoff into the ocean. Illegal fishing is another threat to the Great Barrier Reef, and laws have been set in place to monitor the fishing around the reef. Now I'll talk about organisms in the Great Barrier Reef that are threatened and currently dying. The Great Barrier Reef is a gigantic place where many types of marine plants and animals live and interact actively. Some of these include colorful coral, different schools of fish, sea turtles, and sharks. Also, the coral reef is a plentiful source of food for birds and living space for small fish and microorganisms. So what is being done to save them? The Australian government has set up the Reef Fund, which combined both government and private donations. The government started with a $40 million contribution in 2013 and has donated a total of $210 million so far. Conservation Acts in 1975 and 1999 were established to protect the land by limiting what activities can be done within the area. Boating, aquaculture, and tourism, among other things, are managed throughout the park. Amendments in 2007 and 2008 have created heavier restrictions on what part of the reefs can be used by people. What can you do to help these marine sanctuaries? You can contribute to the Galapagos Park by donating to the WWF and symbolically adopting a turtle to ensure its survival. To support the Great Barrier Reef, donate to the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, who is looking for a long-term solution and conservation of this natural majesty. Thank you for listening, and remember, we must plant the sea and herd its animals, using the sea as farmers instead of hunters. That is what civilization is all about, farming replacing hunting. Jack Christo.
Protect the wild, tomorrow's child. Protect the land.